Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to explain how to solve equations by combining like terms. Before we get into an example, however, I'd like to first do a quick review of what combining like terms entails. So there are two criteria to be able to combine any two terms together. And number one is you have to have the same variable. As in this example here, these two terms both have an x. That means that if I wanted to, I could obey the sign in the middle, which says to subtract them, and I could therefore get an answer, which would be 1x, or you could just write x by itself, like that. Okay. The other criteria is that they need to have the same exponent with the variable. So in this example over here, I have two terms with the same variable, but each variable also has the same exponent on top. That means that I can also obey, once again, the sign in the middle telling me what to do. That operation means addition, obviously, so I'm going to add these two, and I would get 6x to the power of 4. Remember that the powers do not add, only the coefficients. Now, when it comes to solving equations that uses combining like terms, we apply the same technique, but we have to, of course, figure out the value of the variable. So in this case here, I have a situation where I have two terms, and they have the same variable, and I know if they're on the same side as this equal sign right here, I have permission to combine them. So I'm going to combine these two together, and I know that together they make 1x, or once again, you can just write x by itself. Sorry, that's negative 1x. So I have negative 1x equals 5. Now, that negative 1x has to be divided by negative 1 in order to isolate the x. And with that, I get x by itself, and I get negative 5 on the other side, which is the answer. In the second example, I have like terms, however, they're not side by side the way they were before. I have this negative 6 in the middle, and so this is not a problem because all we have to do is take a look at the two like terms, which are these two, pay attention to the operation between them, which is addition, and I know that 3h plus 4h is going to make 7h. So I have 7h take away 6 equals 9. I'm going to draw a line right here to separate both sides. Then I go ahead and proceed as normal. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. That makes 7h on this side, and I get a brand new number 15 on this side. And then I divide by 7. And finally get h is equal to 15 over 7. Okay, now in the last example. In this example, I do have two terms that could combine. I have the 7m here, I have the 3m right there. However, there's a bit of a problem, which makes this question different. The problem is that they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. And if you ever have them in this kind of situation, you cannot combine them unless they're both on the same side. So I have some choices. I can either take the 3m and move it to the 7m, or I can take the 7m and move it to the 3m. Either way, as long as I'm observing equality, it doesn't really matter. But for the sake of argument, and because inequalities is a whole lot easier when the variable is on the left side, we're going to move the 3m to the left side. So if this is a positive 3m, I have to use the inverse operation, which is negative 3m or minus 3m. I place it over here. Make sure when you move it to the other side, be sure to line them up with its like term counterpart. Okay, so it would be wrong if I put the negative 3m here. That would be wrong because, as you can see, this 2 does not have an m. There's no m right there, so they don't belong together. It actually goes here. Now, what happens is I get, out of these two, I get a 4m. So this is where I get to combine these two terms. And I bring down everything I still have left over, and then I continue on. So now I add 2, and I get 4m left over. On the right side, I get a 7. Dividing by 4 will give me the answer, which is 7/4, or 7 over 4. So I hope this video helped. Again, as a recap, combining like terms means that you have to have the same variable with both terms, or you can have, I should have added this earlier, but you can also have just ordinary integers or any real number. So for example, you can have 2 minus 7. Those are like terms as well because none of them have a variable, and that automatically makes them alike. And so in this case, of course, you would get -5. So anyway, so like terms with the same variable or terms without a variable. Number 2, they have to have the same variable and exponent. We looked at equations involving this, and in the first one we had like terms on the same side. We combined them and we solved. Second example, we had like terms on the same side. Sorry about that. We had like terms on the same side. We combined them and we solved. But in the last example, we had like terms, but they were not on the same side. And so we had to bring them together first before combining them. And then it was solving as usual. I hope this video helped you better understand. Thanks for watching.